back on New Year's Day. I think it's just gonna be Mike and I in the shop, and that's it. So I wanna get this mighty specialized RockHopper done and test ridden and ready to be given. Today, we got maybe a little more of a adjust on that front one. The back one looks good. Gotta do a little more cleaning. Gotta get this tire facing the proper direction. And final tune and test ride. Oh, those grips feel really good. They're really on there. Remember last time we took some rubbing alcohol and put them on there? I said evaporate, they'd be on there tight. That's what happened. So let's get started. So there's enough pad, there's enough fluid. The brakes feel okay, but if you look on this side, if you look, you'll see that, see how there's just a little bit of contact right there. So that's on the lower part. You can see the light shining through. And I'm using an old headlamp, but you can use anything. Brighter is good. And then watch when I turn it. So you can see that it's just binding a little bit, and there's a little bit of movement. Not a lot, but some. So there it is binding again. So what I'm gonna do is note where that is, and I can see that once again, it's binding this side. So the outboard pad. So what I'm gonna do is then come here, and I'm gonna try my best to true this rotor. And so what I'm gonna do is I note where it is, and then basically I'm following this through to there. So that's the part that's binding. Now, I'm not saying that this is the only part, but this is a part that's binding. So my hands are okay. So I know that people freak out when you touch them with your bare hands, but there's no oil on my hands other than my natural oils, which is pretty minor. So you saw what I did there. So I'm gonna just see if I've managed to fix it. Oh, did you hear that? Right, so that to me sends like still some binding. And it's annoying because I thought this was done, but somehow maybe it got bumped when I wasn't here, I don't know. If I need to, I'll lean on it with a screwdriver. In fact, I'm going to show you how to do that since it's still binding. So there's that spot. Again. All right, so I'm going to give it a little more muscle this time. Hoping you can see what I'm seeing. Right there. So it still looks like it's just that one low spot. There are, for sure, fancier tools than a plain screwdriver. But what I'm gonna do is use this. Again, following it out. And now I'm just gonna take it here and then lean on it right this way. And see if that's gonna do the trick or not. So that's a little more leverage. This is just one of those things where you gotta be patient. It's pretty good, I must say. There we are. Now it looks to me like this time it's an overcorrection. So now it looks like it's the inboard pad that I'm seeing, which again is typical, right? Because we're talking about parts of a millimeter, and that's just how these kind of breaks are. So it's tough because you just don't have the adjustability on these old ones. So this is just me continuing to mess with it. And again, it's an exercise in patience and indulging my OCD. But if you stick with it, then you can get it to work. You'll have to decide how perfect you want it to be. You know, a little bit of rub isn't gonna hurt anything, but what I'm looking for is light on both sides, and as much as I can help it, I don't want to see any waggle from the disc when I'm spinning it. And again, I'm more sensitive than most to noise, but this is, for me now, acceptable, right? It's not perfect, but it is pretty darn close. And what I'm looking for, again, is when this wheel stops turning one way, I'm hoping it's gonna settle back in the other direction. I'm not touching it right now. This is just gravity. So that's what I want. And I'm calling it good yet again. So I'm hoping that this is now it on my adjustment of this front one. Back one's already good. There it is from a distance. Just letting it spin nice and quiet, and then looking for that rollback. There it is. That's it. And that's the weight, probably of the reflector maybe, or the valve stem. It's obviously not perfectly true, but perfectly balanced, but it's certainly balanced enough. And that's nothing that the rider's ever gonna feel in terms of like that rollback that it does. I'm hoping that this is a minor job of just replacing, not even replacing this tire, but just spinning it the other way. So the reason, very simply, is because the tread pattern should not be facing toward the back of the bike. So you see these arrows, the arrows are running this way. They shouldn't, they should be running that way. So whoever put this tire on wasn't paying attention or didn't understand that that's usually how these tires should go. And honestly, maybe this is just me being ticky-tack yet again, but I don't want to send a bike out that I've worked on with that, because to me it's kind of a glaring error. So I'm going to pop this wheel off. Just a quick release here. Boy, this is really on there. And let's get this tire changed. So first thing I'm going to do is let the air out. Park Tool does not give me any money, but they do sell some tools that I appreciate. This is one of their better levers. So they make some junk levers. This is a TL6, so they don't make this exact one anymore. They're always updating stuff, but these are really kind of the gold standard of tire levers. So they're metal encased in plastic. So they're pricey. They'll probably last you a lifetime, and they'll work way better than those junky levers. We actually give away levers that are, you know, you get, sometimes you'll buy inner tubes and they're like, hey, free tire levers. Yeah, they're free, but they're crap. Anyway, so off comes the valve stem onto the floor, and you can use anything. I'm just using a flat edge to take this off. Anything that'll fit up in there is fine. Usually an Allen key is a little easier, but Clearly this is effective. And then pretty much all the air out here. And I'm just pushing a little bit to get that last little bit out. And now I'm just going around making sure that the bead is broken. It feels pretty good. Oh, there's a little lag. And I'm not changing the inner tube, right? I have to take the whole tire off and then flip it the other direction. So that means off it comes complete. Often these mountain tires, they're a lot easier to get off than some of those road tires. I find sometimes it's just a real struggle. As long as we're chatting, let's talk tubeless. So tubeless, I think how do I say this? The bloom is off the rose in terms of like people and their love of tubeless tires. So not too long ago, it seemed like everybody had to have tubeless. And I think that's shifting now because the reality has set in. That is certainly true for me. So when the tubeless, I don't know, what do we call it? Fad, revolution, I don't know. When it first happened, I was like, I think most people, like, oh, this is amazing. This is incredible technology. This is gonna be the best thing ever. And I would say in some applications that is true. However, those applications are limited. So I currently run tubeless on one of my road bikes, and I find it's way more trouble than it's worth. The fine print on tubeless, which they don't like to talk about too much, is that those things need regular service. So if you're going by like best practices, you're supposed to get that stuff changed every 6 months. Well, shit, that is a lot of work. I find that my tubeless rides, they often need air, even if the sealant is fresh. Depends. But they need more maintenance and more attention, far more than your regular old standard tube. So this looks pretty good. Hey, look, it's facing. I was gonna say, did I put it on wrong? No, I didn't. I put it on right. So I'm gonna fill this up. I'm gonna make sure that the valve stem is directly perpendicular to the rim. And I'm gonna go use the compressor for this. So I'll be back in a moment. Before I put the tire back on, I'm just gonna do a little bit of cleaning back in this area. It's mostly good enough. It's funny what I'm thinking about. Like, I've gotta have those discs adjusted just so, or it's gonna bug me. A little bit of dirt, not that much. I'm definitely not trying to make this bike pristine. We gotta be realistic, right? This is not a show bike. And it's probably not even gonna get ridden out on the trail, right? We're just talking about a bike that's gonna maybe be a starter bike for someone who is gonna do a little bit of single track, but probably not. Probably this rack's gonna get used, it's gonna be ridden around town. And hey, nothing wrong with that. This is a cool bike. I like these old bikes. Anyway, let's put this tire back up in here. So hopefully I didn't bend this disc at all. A little bit of dirt back in here. So I'm hoping you can see this as I do this. I'm gonna lift this back up in here like this. So it goes on the inside of the derailleur. At the same time, I'm watching the disc back in here, and I'm trying to make sure it gets way up into the dropouts. So I'm kind of leaning on it with my leg, and I'm pushing up into there, and now I'm gonna, this quick release should be on the other side of the bike. So before I go any further, should have seen that. And one demerit for me. another one of those things. But, you know, maybe it doesn't really matter. Will it be okay? Yeah, but let's err on the side of caution. Take out this quick release and spin it around. Quick release, springs, skewer, cam, and what I want to do is this lever should be on the non-drive side of the bike. There's a lot going on here already. Would it work? Yeah, it was working. So again, maybe this is just me being OCD, but I can't let it rest. The other thing that I will say, continue to say, is that it's counterintuitive how these springs work. So these little springs, yeah, you do need them, but they go in with the little sides facing toward the center. So if you weren't taught that, or you didn't notice, then you may be tempted just to put them off, take them off and not put them back on, or you might turn the wrong way. And both of those things could have negative consequences. So anyway, back to this here. And I'm wondering if the reason why this skewer is the way it is because of this rack. So now that I've turned it around, I have to show you this. Check this out. There is on this side not a lot of room for this lever. Let me see if I can do this. I don't know. I might have to go back to the way it was. I might have explained it. Yeah. Let's see. In general, I'm not a fan of these aftermarket racks, but if it's on there and it's working, okay. A lot of people like them. All right, so this quick release goes in line with the chainstay. So it does seem to be working okay. Not hearing any dragging. And I'm looking to see those wisdom marks on the dropout, and it looks like it's okay. Checking that rollback. Checking that rollback, come on. You gotta like that though, right? It's like no friction. There it is. Uh-huh, good. All right, so let's get that valve cap back on there. But I'm gonna call this little project good. I didn't finish my rant about tubes versus tubeless. So the only tubeless that I run now, that's just my mountain bikes. They're the ones that I'm like taking up into the watershed. I'm running on the single track over rocks and stuff like that. There are times for sure when tubeless is absolutely necessary. Is that true? Is that fair to say? No. Tubeless are a nice thing to have. All right, so I'm just gonna run these gears and make sure that things are looking good back here. Little noise there, I don't like it. That noise you're hearing is just, this thing's a little cross chain, so there's a little bit of rubbing up here. I'm probably not gonna worry about it. Let's just see that. So there's still, can you hear that? We messed with this a little bit last time, but I'm not satisfied with that. So let's see what I can do. We talked about these adjustment screws, and it feels to me like it might just need another tweak. So back here, So I want to see if you can see what I'm seeing. So I'm looking at this largest cog, and what I'm seeing, boy, this is hard to get on camera. I'm gonna do my best. Okay. So right here, what I'm seeing is that this chain needs to go that way a little bit. So see that little hesitation there? Just hit the camera. That. So I think what needs to happen is, if you look back here, there's an H and an L. Can you see that? Yeah. So H is for high gear, and that doesn't make sense if you're just thinking about it intuitively. So the high gear is this little one, right? And the L is the low gear, and that's the big one. So what I'm gonna do is attempt to give this derailleur a little bit more room to go that direction. And the way you do that is you turn it out. And I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it or not, but we're gonna hopefully be able to show you. So again, here's the low screw, and I'm turning it outwards, unscrewing it. And I saw it move slightly that way. I don't know if you did. But let's see if that little bit of adjustment makes a difference. The danger is to do it too much, especially without a spoke protector on here, right? So if you're not careful, you're gonna go right into the spokes, and then you've got bigger problems. So let's give her a go. So all I'm doing is turning the cranks here. Let's see. It's better, but can you still hear that? I mean, it's close to perfect. I'm just gonna give it one more little turn outwards. So I turn it out a little more. Oh yeah. Now we're talking. Now the question is, I'm gonna now test this and just be super careful about it, because I wanna make sure it doesn't go into the spokes. So now what I'm doing is I'm really leaning on this derailleur. I don't know if you can see this, but I'm working that front shifter and trying to shift into the spokes by pushing it pretty hard, and it's not doing it. But it looks like where we need to be now, right? Let's take a look at that front one now and make sure that that's tight. So we had a little bit of rubbing when we were in that lowest gear, but not really enough to concern me. Let's just run these front ones. A little bit of hesitation right there, as it goes from the middle gear to the lowest one. I mean, it feels okay. I'm gonna let out just a little bit of tension. So I wanna make this drop down more easily to the front gear. So I'm gonna turn this barrel adjuster in. And what that's gonna do is take tension off here. So it should make it drop down a little easier. Let's just try that again. See where we are. Sorry, I just grabbed the wrong shifter. Here we go. That's better. I'm gonna give it just a little more. See how the just still hesitates a little bit there. So I'm gonna keep trying. There we go. Sometimes it's just me, like not shifting cleanly. But sometimes it's actually the derailleur. So I'm pretty satisfied with this now. Could be cleaner. See what happens if I'm up here. Yeah, I say we're good. So next thing I'm gonna do is put this back in the middle gear. And let's test drive this guy. I think we're about done. So no substitute for a good old-fashioned test drive when you're done. Definitely want to do it no matter what. And I like riding my bike indoors on this indoor outdoor carbureting. It's so smooth. I got the room to myself. It's quiet. Feels good. Fork feels pretty good. It'd be a little stiffer for my taste, but I'm not going to mess with it. Seat feels good. I'm happy. Only thing that I'd like for the next owner is a kickstand. So no substitute for a good old-fashioned test drive when you're done. Definitely want to do it no matter what. And I like riding my bike indoors on this indoor outdoor carpeting. It's so smooth. I got the room to myself. It's quiet. Feels good. That was loud. I think that was me though. Fork feels pretty good. Could be a little stiffer for my taste, but I'm not going to mess with it. Seat feels good. I'm happy. Only thing that I'd like for the next owner is a kickstand. This is the last bit. So I cleaned things up, finished getting everything in order, got that skewer in the right spot, test ridden, got that cable mounted, brakes, levers, seat, chain cleaned up, gears adjusted, and this thing is just about ready to go. You've got all my reflectors in order. So we like the kickstand. I like a kickstand, especially for around town. Not one on any of my mountain bikes, but for sure, like my around town bikes, it's a handy thing to have. And this is one of these rare ones, not a greenfield. Notice that I couldn't put it in this spot because of this cable here, this derailleur cable. This is one that comes up rather than ones that come down that way. I like the ones that come down just because they're easier to deal with than these for this very reason. In terms of reliability and shifting, I don't think you can tell the difference. This bolt, unusual, it's a 17 as opposed to a 15. So I'm just holding this with my hand right now, so I'm gonna have to put this down while I tighten it up. So I unfortunately don't have a proper kickstand for this. We need to get our hands on some more. This bracket doesn't span these chain stays and if I crank on it, I'm risking damaging the frame. So I could probably force it, but I'm just not gonna do that. So unfortunately, this is going out of the shop without kickstand today. But you are gonna be in time for the blue tape ceremony. A fixing of the blue tape, which is the official way that we let each other know that, hey, this bike is done and ready for rehoming. I think I said before, this one we're gonna probably try to sell, because I think this could be one that could maybe get us, I don't know, a couple $100 or so. And we need money for the shop, so we're gonna try to list it, I think. It's a good looking bike and it's ready to ride. So Seth is one of our volunteers, and Seth is working on the mighty Rally Genesis. What the heck?
Venture 4.0.
Oh, there it is.
Looks
Okay,
like.
Venture 4.0. Okay.
Great.
And apparently, it's got like not awesome components on this thing.
No, not a nice bike.
But you were saying that it's actually missing an important piece.
Yes, it's missing the front derailleur, which is gonna shift the chain up and down through these cogs.
Right, so it should have triple the speeds as it has now. Looks like this is an 8 maybe.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, it's an 8, but it should be a 24.
Yeah. And so I located a derailleur, front derailleur for it, confirmed that it's capable of doing 3 cogs.
Good.
Mike told me. So he said. And then it's internal cable routing on this bike here.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use this.
It's weird because I see it's got this, but then it just pops out somewhere.
So I don't
oh, there
know.
it is. So it pops out down here.
Yeah.
And so you're going to use, that's a Park Tool cable routing kit, right?
Which has a magnet. I have the directions here.
Well, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm going to start with the housing, you think? Do the housing and then thread the cable through after?
Yeah, if the housing is decent, you don't have to replace it.
Okay, well there isn't housing.
Oh, there is no housing
So
at
I'll
all.
have
Yeah,
to
so
I'll-
I would say then you're going to need some housing, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll need housing, a shifter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm looking up here and I even see a shifter. So you've got yet another thing to deal with.
Pretty bare bones.
Yeah, so we've got this V-brake combo on one side, and this side is just a brake lever. So
Yes.
that's going to be interesting, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave this.
Are you going to leave that and
is.
just like
I'm just
tack
gonna add
on?
another
Okay.
shifter.
All right.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Well, I'm curious about how this goes.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta figure out the right length of the housing too. But you would say start with housing?
Well, you're going to need housing anyway, but I
Yeah.
think first get a shifter that you know is going to work, and then from there find the housing that works
is there
for it.
different sizes of housing?
Well, there's different lengths, and depending on like where, I'm assuming this is going to mount here, but I would be comfortable like starting with getting the shifter,
Okay.
making sure the shifter is going to work with that. It probably won't be that big of a deal, but then from there, yeah, then get the housing and then thread the cable.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right, well, we'll check back and see how that project unfolds.
That's the project.
Nice. Cool.
Started.